Can I help you? No, no, that's mine.
Okay.
Who signed it? Oh.
Hey, you Robin.
No, because I'm not tall enough to turn the clocks up. You can climb a chair. Go ahead, Steve.
Was that behind before? I thought it was about to be right. When we moved forward, and now it's
Honey, you know me and clocks. I'm not climbing a wall. Not today.
Who's that ladder at I carried in here? Here.
Get more of them.
I'm not gonna sit where you stand. That's all we do. No separation here. What?
Yeah, I don't think
If you don't-
Oh, okay. Great. Thanks.
All right, I think we're ready to get started. So the first thing I'd like to say is these ordinance meetings happen the Tuesday before the council meeting every month. So usually that's the third Tuesday, but this month, last month, it's actually the fourth Tuesday, depending on where it begins. And we'd like to have people here if we can, because having a larger perspective allows us to write better laws. And we're not always the experts on the subject, and we're doing our best to get something written, so we can use that. That's all we can get.
It's not.
And then the other thing, the only two things I believe we got on the agenda here are the community cats, and the other one was there's going to be Alzheimer's requested to be put on the new building that's already.
Huh?
Where that is a lot that they're just tearing stuff down on. It's gonna be a public meeting. I think
It's okay.
the-
The old champ park lot.
The what? Yes,
The old champ.
yes, that's the lot. And so they're requesting a wall sign. There's gonna be a public hearing on that end of the month. So there's nothing else other than that, just a notice. So they're moving into community cats. Everybody is here for. If anybody wants, I have two more copies here of the bill that was passed related to it, the main one. Only in the part that was relevant, we removed the care, including food and shelter, so all it allows the provision of medical care at the moment. So what's come to me is basically two problems. One is the question of eliminating the ability to feed the cats. Introduction of a fine for deliberate feeding of an unowned cat. And the second that I heard about is that it might be problematic for the TNR program to be putting things on the ear. And so I believe, is there somebody who Deborah Holland?
She is on her way. She's coming from Festus. She was in Eolia about 10 minutes ago. She should be getting here in a minute.
Okay, good.
I'm her sister.
Oh, okay. Because I don't think I've met her, and she runs the.
Yeah, she's the
TNR
president of the
program.
team.
You're the treasurer, okay. Your name?
Robin Ozils.
I heard that name.
I'm also on the board.
Yes, yes, maybe that's why.
I'm on the board for that.
Okay, so what's your name?
Williams.
Yeah.
I wasn't
I don't
rude.
remember. So, I suppose, let's start with. I guess maybe we should talk about why we changed it. We, at the last ordinance committee meeting, we were discussing basically two problems that led to these two changes. The first was that some people have been complaining about some of the community cats becoming dangerous, and that it was also difficult to identify which cats were community cats or which cats. And I guess it's that there's a conflict between the requirement to register a cat and that if there's just a cat that is not, It's sort of presumed to be a community cat, and so you can just sort of own a cat. But if you don't put a tag on it, then in theory, you don't have to register, right? I mean, it feels sort of like a loophole to the registration requirements. And so those were why we added removed the ability to feed, so that the community cat caregivers would be able to participate in trapping, tagging, vaccinating, taking the cats to be spayed, neutered, those kind of things. But that we would not have quite the same size of loophole. And also there's some concerns that the TNR program is maybe not able to deal with quite the number of cats that we have. And so if that is true, and we were thinking of decreasing the amount of feeding, will keep the populations at a lower level. That otherwise the feeding will artificially increase the number of cats that can be breeded. And so I suppose we can start with discussion of that issue.
Okay, first off, I'd like to clarify that we don't put tags on the ears. There is a notch put into the
Yes.
left side.
No, so that's let's move to the second issue then. So the second issue is exactly that on the tags. The problem is that if you dock an ear, sometimes that's a little difficult to see from a bit of a distance, particularly if you have a cat that seems dangerous or something. And originally there were some problems with being able to pick up the community cats, that you have to leave them where they are unless for purposes of TNR. The other problem is that if they're vaccinated this year, then at some point those vaccines are going to be, they need to be renewed, right? You have to be revaccinated. And so if they've had their ear docked, it's difficult to tell, at least I understand, it's difficult to tell when exactly they got that vaccination, right? So if it was a 1-year rabies and they need it every year, then I guess we just have to pick up all cats every year. But if it's a 3-year, in theory, you wouldn't need to pick them up for 3 years because you don't know which one that is, right? And so we were trying to figure out if there was a way to identify which cats have been vaccinated and when it wasn't they were vaccinated, so that ideally, if we're a little bit low on the resources to pick up all the cats and check them every year, then maybe we could better use the TNR program's resources to make sure that the cats really are being vaccinated when they're supposed to.
I don't know about everyone else, but I have my own colony, and I would know when the cat needed vaccination. I follow my cats close.
You have a managed colony.
I have a managed colony.
That's what we're, I think, kind of trying to work towards, that we do have people that are managing these cats, and that they do get vaccines, and they do get,
And I take my cats to the vet if they need.
right, and that's what we're kind of trying to work.
But at the same time, by definition, of the ordinance, that's a pet, not a community cat.
Yeah, right.
That's the issue where the ordinance defines an owner as somebody who is the sole care provider of an animal. If that counts for a dog, the community cat is exempt from that, and that would become the problem. A lot of people are upset because the cats are getting the loophole of, it's a cat, it doesn't matter, but a dog owner gets a dog at large ticket, failure to register ticket, failure to vaccinate ticket, the cats don't. That's not fair.
It's also not fair to the cats that they've been getting fed and now all of a sudden the people are gonna be fined. So now basically you're telling owners to ignore these cats or they're gonna get a fine.
And the cats will go.
Or-
So
Where I
that's-
go.
If they're owners, if they're a colony owner, then they could get the cats registered for such vaccination to show, because if you're already caring for the cats, then in theory, you've already taken on all the financial expense of it, right?
There is
Of
a 5
care
cat
for the
limit
kids.
though, I mean, a 5 pet limit when you go to register them.
Yes.
And some of these colonies are larger than 5.
Well, we might be able to change that.
See, that's something easier to
Yeah.
change than going into everything else. It's just, the hardest part is if anybody in here doesn't know me, hi, I'm Tiffany Argno. I also do our volunteer animal control officer duties. And the problem I'm running into the majority of the time is dangerous cats. Honestly, it's the craziest thing. I never thought a cat could be a dangerous animal. But we've picked up 2 now. And it's really hard to enforce the law on dogs to go, well, it's a cat, what can I do? You know, it's
Dangerous
hard.
now.
Could we possibly do it? Like, there's a dangerous cat, now we'll deal with that at an individual basis versus a blanket statement. Because if there's only been 2 in the past.
That's a hard thing, because by the definition of the ordinance of a dangerous animal, it does state that a dangerous animal is any animal that causes harm to a person or to a domesticated animal, causing infliction. Oh my gosh, now I'm blanking on it. Many times I read it. It's inflicting harm on a person or causing laceration with it having to be with an inpatient hospital stay or a hospital stay. We've had that happen twice, where an animal has, or a cat has harmed a person to the point where they needed stitches. I mean,
So is this somewhere posted for public knowledge? Because I know when
all our
dogs,
city ordinances are online.
I'm talking about like the attack. So when a dog attacks someone, it's put into the newspaper.
It's not,
It's not.
no, it's not, but it's not posted, and nowhere in our ordinance doesn't say it needs to be posted.
It
It
would
goes
be a
through
public
municipal court.
case, in municipal court, but I don't know if you could find that without knowing the case.
How many calls have been given to the animal? How many calls have you gotten over dangerous cats, somebody been attacked by a cat or something like that? Have you gotten any calls about it?
Yes, I've had 2
Two, it's 2.
so far, yes. 2 is enough to start a problem. It's something that we need to address now.
How much fines are gonna be levied on people?
Can we go back to, your problem is, what I think you were referring to, is that dogs, if a dog is at large, then obviously they're more seen, you can see them. So people are upset that a dog can't be at large, but cats can be at large.
Yes.
So a cat, even if it's registered, if it is registered and it has an owner, then if you capture the cat, then that owner is gonna get fined.
That
Is
has
that
happened,
right?
that has happened in the past, yes. So if somebody has a pet cat that's loose running, causes a nuisance, whatever, because at that point, probably you've been looking for this forever. We had a cat who was picked up, it was being a nuisance, it was actually broke into somebody's house. Twice. So we went and picked the cat up. The owner was fined for animal at large.
So I think that's the problem, is that I don't think anybody here would be opposed to registering their cats, even if they're a colony, but they don't want to get fined for having an animal at large because the cats like to be outside.
And see, these are things that we can modify and adjust to. But at the same time, when cats become a consistent nuisance where they are tearing up people's properties, where they're hurting people, they're attacking people, attacking other animals, that's, we've got to draw the line.
But I was just wondering if maybe it's only been 2 times, to me, that doesn't seem so huge that we need to change the ordinance. Maybe only that it could be on a case by case basis, have a trial jury or whatever for that cat in that
All of our
specific.
dangerous animals have to go through the municipal court. It does not come back to the city in any way, shape, or form. Any type of dangerous animal issue has to go through.
But maybe deal with it that way at that time.
Like
It's
you
only
do a
been 2
dog.
cats and so much time, I don't know how much time 2 cats, but
I think though the ultimate goal is to remove some of the conflict between the 2 statutes, right? So, or ordinances, so that, I mean, the goal of the TNR program is ultimately to decrease the population of community cats.
and it
right?
takes a while, and
Exactly.
feeding is part of that. If you train a cat to keep coming to you because they're gonna get food, and eventually you can trap that cat, neuter the cat. Hopefully, if it can be given a home, maybe rehome, or if not, and then eventually it will die and not reproduce.
How long has the TNR program been active here?
Was it 2016?
It's been
About 2016, I think.
Has there been a survey in that time of how many cats there are at the beginning and yearly or?
But I'm not sure.
I'm sure that'd be great.
Because the concern I've heard from people outside the cat world is that there are just so many cats and they just keep multiplying.
There's a lot less
I was
now.
gonna say, I've seen a lot less
And
cats
so.
than there were in the previous years.
And so if we could get some numbers on that, that would be very helpful.
I
Deal with
think
the people who have
we've
been
been trapped at least 300.
Oh, yeah.
At least 300 cats have been trapped.
And also, Louisiana Community Cats has also helped rehome many cats. I don't know the exact number, but we have worked with the animal shelter. We have pulled, Tiffany might have those numbers, how many cats have been pulled from the pound and placed with foster care and rescued.
It's quite impressive, especially that it's all volunteers, it's all volunteers,
It's- yeah.
donations, it's people, giving their time,
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, we've had a wild number of cats this year.
We have had a little bit of setback with COVID because we've had trouble getting spots, with the vets to do as many as we'd like.
Do you have a 501c3?
Yes,
Okay, you want to talk to me? There's grant money.
yeah, I think that'd be.
I
a-
served for 14
Yeah.
You
years.
got some before. and then
15 years
didn't
with a
reapply.
foundation funded by Standard Oil money that funds spay neuter
Mhm.
and TNR programs in low-income communities. So there's money out there.
Yes, we have received grants before like that, so. My sister takes care of all that, so, and she should just. This might be her regular.
And there's an endless supply of new cats because people don't get them spayed and neutered. So, you could kill every cat in town and then, 3 weeks later, there'd be replacements for all of them.
There's any reasonable alternative to a TNR program.
Right.
You can't pick them all up and kill them, both for practical and moral reasons.
Right.
And just letting them run wild is not good either, because then you get safety issues. More fighting and such.
You have the number of-
There may have been
We have
two
none.
incidences, where, we had somebody that was scratching, and even if they thought they had no CR. But I mean, even in that case, it's much less than if you've got a pit bull on the ground, we've had pit bulls from. And the cat got pit bull, and be vicious and tear his leg off. But
Cats usually only scratch when they get.
They're just trying to get away.
Yeah.
But if you're grabbing
no,
onto
Well, the
them,
problem is it's not just when people are trying to catch cats that we've had cat attacks. Problem is there's a woman here in town who's taking her trash out and she gets attacked every night by a cat.
No, you need to try it.
That cat.
I'd like to see it.
I took that, I see
I'd
that
like to sit and watch.
That was
and see
attacked.
this happen.
a person that had to go to the hospital. Again, I still can't find that cat. I mean, these are occurrences that are happening all the time.
Did they try trapping them? Did they try trapping them?
We tried. The problem is the cats are a lot harder to catch than dogs, plain and simple. There's only 2 incidents I have where we've actually been able to pick up.
I did.
So that's when they do the cat attacks call coming in, we get it. I would use.
Yeah, because I guarantee if I can trap out tonight, I'll have a cat tomorrow.
The problem is that it's not just having a cat, it's having a specific cat. And that's a little harder.
I had, hi.
Uh,
For those that
Feral-
don't know me, I
feral
run the
cats will
TNR
tend to
program.
Shy away from humans. You try to pet feral cats and usually, community cats, and they'll run from you and won't let you get near them. I mean,
Yeah, but I still can't.
Tiffany,
Yes.
if this would contact Louisiana Community Cats or like in the case of the one attacking, we will focus attention on that and try to take care of that cat. But if we don't, know what the problems are, we can't help.
Yeah, and I know at the time you guys were down, you were sick as well. But I mean, it's a lot to take on, it really is. And
An article about why feeding bans don't work.
it's kind of cruel to the animals when you just cut off the food supply, because then my neighbor, I went and picked her trash up because when they quit feeding the cat turned the trash over, tore it open. She doesn't have a big green trash can, she had little round ones.
Right.
And when you just stop and quit feeding them, that's kind of cruel for punishment to a cat. Yeah, and people's trash cans.
I've never had
They'll come right to that food and that bottle trash.
Raccoons.
Yeah.
They'll come, if you got food on your porch, they'll come get your food there, then they'll leave and they get bottle trash or going dumpsters and stuff like that.
Yes,
we keep birds, we keep cats, they leave the birds alone because they have. They're easier to get.
And if you stop feeding them, they get unhealthy, they get
roam.
disease, they spread disease among all the other critters outside and people, and then you have a dangerous one. And if they're not neutered, they're more likely to stake out territory and be more aggressive. If they're neutered,
And they spray on people.
they're that's you.
See, of course, we're not.
That's really where the money needs to be.
The city doesn't have any money.
Excuse me, I got an idea.
There's a lot of people in this town who don't, it's all at one time, it's really, I mean, we.
So is that something that the TNR program can undertake? Because what we really want is, we had a lot of people complaining about it. So we were trying to make the TNR program more effective, right? So that's a good day for at least the last month. And so I'm glad to have you all here, but now we've only got the other side, right? So we got all the people working with the TNR program. And so we're trying to improve the effectiveness of the TNR program within the registration requirements that we have, right? So the TNR program will really be controlling the cats, keeping the breeding numbers down, as much as possible. Understand the cats are going to be released. There are ones that are going to be feral, that are going to be roaming around. Just can't get a hold of them. We want as many of those cats as possible, spayed and neutered, and feeding in the right location, not tearing up property, not hurting any people. And it seemed from what we had heard before that was not happening. And so the way I was looking at it anyway was that if we have a TNR program that is not keeping the cats down, then the feeding is just going to be increasing the numbers, right?
I
So-
don't know where you're getting that we're not keeping the numbers down.
Okay, hold on. That's what I was
Hey,
just.
we
that's what I
can't
was
come
just
in
saying
and
about the-
overnight take care of it, because you're gonna have citizens that give their daughter or their son a kitten for Christmas or a birthday.
No, I understand.
When that cat grows up, or, if he's not spayed by 3 or 4 months, they're gonna start peeing in the house, and the cats get thrown outside. They're not fixed. That's where the cats are coming from.
No, and so actually.
So,
Yep. That's the problem, not the feeding,
right, the problem is the people, not the cats.
the breeding. Yeah, it's the breeding.
Do you have any numbers on that? That was a question I was
We
asking.
are very close to 900 cats. We are starting up
900
again.
cats, what, the total number?
The total number that we have fixed, that does not include the hundreds of cats that we have pulled and got to rescue, found homes for. And I could give you exact numbers, but I didn't have time to run all those.
So it's.
Last year, even with COVID, where it was very hard to get vet appointments, we averaged 10 cats a month. And that is us, 3 of us trapping, taking care of the cats the night before, driving them to Columbia, spending the whole day in Columbia, bringing them back, taking care of them until they could be released, which is a minimum of 24 hours. So, and that's a lot for 3 people to
So
do.
do we have any numbers though on the total number of cats in town? Is there any
There's
way
no
to
way
get
to,
some
there's
kind
no
of-
way to know. No way to know. I would say a good indication would be for every person that lives in the city limits, that's 10 cats. Not including the ones they claim as pets.
You think there's?
And that's probably, that is probably a low estimate. You are not gonna see feral cats during the day. The truly feral ones avoid humans.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to touch them. You're not gonna be able to pick them up. They are not gonna attack you. They're gonna be as far away from you as. So,
I haven't had any problem with these cats. I see a couple of cats that go around their area, and they don't bother me or anything.
and
Um,
I'd like
but-
to say it again, all the city needs to do is contact Robin, me, any of the Louisiana Community Cats people. We need to know where the problems are so that we can target our trapping there. The way we're doing it now is when we got started, we would find the largest groups of cats that we knew about. So we took care of the cats by First Baptist Church. That was our first area of focus. We've hit up by the cemetery. We've been on Kentucky Street, Maryland Street. We're trying to find where the large of community cats are. And as people learn what we were doing, then they're contacting us and they get on a waiting list. And we try to cycle them as soon as we can, but there's only so much we can do because we're not getting money from the city. We're not getting money from the state. We are fundraising. A lot of us are paying for stuff out of our own pocket. You know, I can't tell you how much money I've sunk into gas, cat food, you know, the stuff that we need. But if we don't know where the problems are, so when the city's getting a complaint, it's really easy to forward that to us. We have a Facebook page, we have an email. We got rid of our phone number because no one was using it.
Thank you.
So you need donations.
We need donations, we need volunteers, because there's only so much we trappers can do, you know.
I got an idea. How much of the fines you're gonna levy against people for stuff? Why can't you take the fine money you're gonna give people for pets and give that to these people and they'll use it?
That was the idea. It was absolutely the idea.
But
There you go.
There was significant opposition to the fines.
there
There
is,
is.
Yeah.
because if you
So-
find
well,
somebody
see,
that's
this
feeding
town
cats,
finds that
they
way.
are gonna go underground. They're not gonna reach out for help.
Well,
They're not gonna claim the cats. The cats are gonna suffer if you start doing a fine. That didn't work before. It just harassed people that were kind people, the people you want in your community. The ones that look out for the helpless, the homeless, you know, those are good people. That's who you need in Louisiana, is the ones that care. And it, you know, how a person treats an animal tells you a lot about them.
and the cats that come to my house, I can't catch them right away. I have to make a habit of feeding them. Eventually I can trap them and take them in, but I can't.
But the feeding's integral to the whole
Yeah,
trapping.
I can't feed them for a week and then get fined $150.
Right.
Well, that was another question. So your $50 fine, is that daily, per cat, per month? How
It
does
would
that?
be per incident, I suppose, if they would specify.
So if I'm feeding a cat on Monday, I have a $50 fine. I'm feeding a cat, two cats on Tuesday,
You have
$250.
In
$100.
theory, yes.
Maybe the same cat.
And does
It's not
Louisiana
specified.
have the police force to manage going and finding people that are feeding a cat? There are other things in town that need more attention.
It was stated
But there's a
that this
problem
would.
anytime, right? I mean, anytime you're enforcing anything, there's a problem. We don't catch everybody who uses drugs in town.
No.
It was
Or
stated
they
that-
usually.
It was stated that this would be at an officer's discretion. If a person is feeding a cat and they're caring for it, like you, ma'am, I'm sorry, I don't know your name. You're feeding your cats, you're taking care of your cats, you do your veterinary care, you're doing everything that you're supposed to with your cats. You would not be fined for feeding your cats because you are following the ordinance, you are doing exactly what you're supposed to do. So it's, the problem is that we have people who feed these cats, the cats get hurt, they immediately turn it over to the city.
So then are you reaching out to LCCC when somebody calls you and needs medical?
We do the best we can with reaching out to not only, we go through Amber Q's, we go through Cat Coalition, we try to find private people to pay for it. We do everything we can.
My opposition to the fines, even if it's at an officer's discretion, what do you do with that one officer that is trying to throw his weight around, make a name for himself? Not you, not you. You're gonna have people that, you know, say, you don't like Cheryl. This officer doesn't like Cheryl. He's gonna harass Cheryl about feeding, even if she is doing everything. Yeah,
Clear
you
out
buy
that
every
way.
night, you know,
I mean,
there has to
Certain
be,
people get away with it, and other
Yes.
people won't.
there has to be a very hard line where no matter who you are, no matter where you are, how many cats you're feeding, everyone gets treated the same. And a fine
Yes,
is,
but
a
that-
fine
that's
is just
probably
gonna drive
opposite.
people underground, it's gonna get worse. They won't reach out to us, they won't reach out to the city, they'll just leave the cats.
Some cities that are under, they have, colony managers are registered, so the city knows who you are and what you're doing.
Good luck doing that,
Well, I'm not
because
saying you have to.
before TNR started, our caretakers were getting harassed. They were getting harassed with
So you don't-
fines.
you don't
Cats
wanna
were
be-
getting picked up and dumped out in the country somewhere. We
But
don't
so
know
what
where.
if, what if we regularize it in that way? Where there would be certain people who, I don't know, through the TNR program, we know that they know how to manage cats, right? How to, well, I'm not even sure, because I've never done it myself, of all the things that are required. You have to identify the cats, you have to know how to feed them, how to approach them, how to trap them. All that
Pretty
kind-
much
that kind
the
of stuff,
ones
right?
that are
So-
feeding know how to
Um,
handle that and
I
what they
think-
Right,
need.
and so if the TNR program knows who these people are, then I think this would be a good idea.
Well, it's worked, I have a kind of a partnership in the community, leaders that get all the complaints. And the cat people who are doing all the work, if they want to expense, they have some partnership where one hand feeds the other instead of stabbing each other in the back.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be victimized, but.
Right, but
If
that
you-
is what happened in the past. That is what happened in the past.
If you communicate and cooperate with the leaders, you can work it out together. You can do your job and they'll help you. And the foundations will help you, but you can't just do it on your own like my way or the highway.
No, I'm not saying my way or the highway. I'm saying what did not work 6 years ago in the city is what we are heading back towards, getting fines and, you know, the harassment of the caretakers. And we know who our caretakers are. We have a Facebook page just for our caretakers. So they can come to us if they need food. Because a lot of these people that are feeding don't have the money to do this. They're going without food so that their animals can eat. So Louisiana Community Cat has been providing food for the ones that need it. We've done that on a monthly basis. I have 5 bags of food in my car right now. We keep track of them, any needs. If they have a cat that has an eye injury, I had a cat recently had an abscess. Those things, they contact us. We will help them find money for the vet bill. We have taken cats to Patty. That gives Spot a shot. We've taken cats to Clarksville, Bowling Green, and we are here. This doesn't have to be a part of the ordinance. That is what our group is supposed to do. And that was our original proposal, was that when the city had complaints, those would get forwarded to us. You guys keep a copy with you. We would handle the community interaction. We would talk to the person that was having problems with the person feeding cats next door. We would try to work out a situation. Cats that were getting in garbage or whatnot, we would try to solve that. We would offer deterrent advice. If somebody didn't want a cat in their yard, we would say things they could do, you know, move the feeding dishes to the other side of your property so they're not going in this. You know, there's things we want to work with. the state.
So suppose, if we took, I'm sorry, I didn't print any copy. Definition of community cat caregiver, and it included 3 things that they could do. It was food, shelter, and medical care.
Yes,
And
but
so
you
we-
crossed out food and shelter. That needs to go back in the ordinance because you do not have a caretaker if they're not allowed to feed and provide shelter.
So if they're providing food, shelter, and medical care, what's the difference between a community cat caregiver and an owner?
It is outside, it is not their cat, it's simply one that they're taking care of.
So if
because
it's
no one else.
outside, then do they need to provide shelter? So if we put back in,
Yes,
if we put back
that's
in
a
food.
Department of Ag rule. You can't leave a dog out with no shelter. You can't leave.
Only if you own it though. I mean, like.
No, well,
I can't, so nobody can find me for a possum that lives behind my house or
Right.
something, right, that I don't take in.
exactly, but that's
So
a
there-
wild
There's gotta be
animal.
some distinction, right?
That's a wild
Have their
animal.
own shelter and I go to that.
In the winter time, I cut holes in old coolers I find in
Yeah.
dumpsters, I cut holes in them and I've given them to people in the neighborhood and I set them around for the cats to get into when it is really cold.
And we have also provided the styrofoam coolers with straw to
I don't
those that
have
need
cat
it.
myself, but
Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
Okay, now that's a different thing than what I understood in the statute was, ordinance. Was that shelter would be like the cat lives in your house or something.
no, a shelter is just out of the elements.
I feed mine at an abandoned house. I go there twice a day.
and get in and out of the cold, and
That's their,
Yeah.
the rain.
that's their home.
Okay, so maybe we can clarify that, shelter back in there.
So back to the $50 fine, what if you don't pay it?
It's up to the judge, isn't it?
I was gonna say, so.
If it goes
then-
through
then you've
municipal
got a-
court, that's
then
up
you've
to the
got a judgment
judge.
against you That's unpaid, then you're gonna run into what's eventually.
So what can happen?
And bench
We
warrant,
just
you know,
repeat. And keep on feeding the cats.
Basically,
that right.
That's correct. It's left up to the judge, it's not my discretion, it's not the city discretion, not the chief's discretion. Judge Mylan Berry, who is our municipal judge.
So, you're gonna have little old ladies with fines against you.
Yes,
We're gonna
because
have
we've
a-
had
we're gonna have a
little old
separate wing in the
ladies
jail.
abandon animals and stuff too.
No, so, no,
Smuggling prune juice.
I mean, that's the truth. I mean,
Yeah, so-
these are little.
It's not just little old ladies,
No, I
it's
mean,
little old men,
Yeah.
it's teenagers, that, you know.
So
Including
that's
70
that's the
plus
problem you have with any enforcement. I mean, we just passed, I don't know, 2 months ago about, that you have to take your garbage can back with your house, right? You can't leave it out.
I wondered, is that what that means on the water bill? Because I didn't
Yes.
understand that at all.
Yes, so we had an ordinance that was a little bit unclear requiring you to do it. And so that was just changed. And so the notification went out since the water department and collects the trash fees. They just put that on. So it's not like Jeff Windmiller spends all week going around giving tickets to people for having them out there. But if there's a persistent offender, then you could, right? So I mean, if it's just all the time, somebody's calling and saying this person never does it, then you could go and do it.
Okay, so just bring them all to my house and then all the fines, because I'll be feeding them. And the other thing with feeding, you might find this nice lady $50, but there's also feeding the same cats. You take away one feeder, there's more than one. We have run into that when we're trapping, because we'll tell people, do not feed the day before we come. We need them coming on the trap. And sure enough, 2 houses, that person's feeding them. You know, so you're not gonna be able to find everybody that's feeding,
No,
and
but-
it's just a bad road to go down, because you're gonna cause distrust from the people that are trying to help. And we need our caretakers, because that's how we know that they have more cats that need to be fixed, or that they have a cat that they're having problems with. Or, you know, so-and-so down the street died, who's gonna take care of her cats? You know, we've had that. And
So-
I was really upset when I saw that the food and shelter was taken off. Because, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the corner of C Street in Nebraska, a woman moved out of her house, 30 cats in that house, locked up with decomposed cat bodies, skeletal remains, and just goo on the floor. It was horrible. Robin was there. We walked through it.
That
That
lady is subject
lady-
to a neglect charge.
But she did not get anything. She didn't get a slap. She didn't say, oh, bad woman, nothing from the city. They just let it go. We had to euthanize 10 of those cats because they were adults, weighed 2 pounds, pus coming out of their ears, nose, and mouth.
And so I don't know what they were doing 10 years ago, but if you ask me, they should. have been
It
charged
wasn't
with
even 10
30
years
counts of
ago.
neglect.
Well, that should be insane. That's
Yeah,
insane.
so that person walks
They should have been
free, but
charged
you're
with
gonna
neglect.
fine somebody $50 because they're not
Well,
registered with the city, or, you know,
well, so,
the
I mean,
police officer doesn't like how they have
I
the
don't
rules
support
out.
whatever they did,
Yeah.
did not, I think they should have enforced that, right? I mean,
Yes, they should have. We had
And so
autopsies
in-
from the zoo.
Enforcement is always gonna be somewhat spotty, because you can't know everything that everybody's doing wrong. So what I'm thinking then is, so what if we put back food and shelter, and we clarify on the shelter that this is like a special shelter that's been giving, or if we can put in some language about community cat caregivers having designated colonies or something like that, or that, yes, I mean, something like that, so that if we can clarify what exactly it is and how it's distinct from.
Well, a
being
good way to tell is if you're feeding cats that have an ear tip, they're part of our program. I think they would need to register if they have ear tip cats, because that means we've
I don't
been
think we have
there.
to be a formal
And,
registration.
we have a list, so if the city has somebody and they're like, hey, this person, isn't feeding right or whatever, you could check with us to see, are they in your program? Because, we just had James, what was his name, at the hotel. Butch Garner died. He had 10 cats inside his house that were friendly. They were not feral cats. When he died, his family members threw those. The city would not help. The ordinance says pick up injured, sick, or animals that are in danger. They were told, nope, that's a TNR problem. So to me, that was the city not working with us. We have done so much that we have tried to make things better for the city. We have found rescue for cats at the pound.
We appreciate that, and that's
We,
the purpose of this
and
meeting.
we want to continue networking, but if we don't know about things, and if you guys aren't giving a little bit of help,
Last month, right? And we didn't have anybody, all we had was people telling us that there are more cats than ever,
right.
and they're not being controlled.
Well,
And
the
so-
problem, I don't live in Louisiana. I live 2 hours away from here.
No, I
Louisiana's my hometown. So I can't, and January, February are my crazy, like working till 8 o'clock at night. So I could not come to that. And
No, but I mean, you are I don't know what you're talking about, sorry, but I mean, I assume that these people all, I mean, you have a group where you could post, and we've got it on Zoom and stuff.
yes, and
And
I
so-
posted for this
And
meeting,
so I'm
but.
not blaming you for being
Right,
missing. I didn't do that.
But I was told that you guys were going to propose changes. I would see those proposed changes so I could feedback on what I thought. I didn't see anything until I got a clipping from the Press Journal saying that you had passed this and there would be $50 fines, that you had taken away the feeding and the shelter. And I was just blown away because I had no idea that you were voting on that ordinance without input from the people that have boots on the ground with the cats. In a perfect world, we wouldn't need to be here because people would spay and neuter and keep their cats inside. But we don't live in a perfect world, and we're doing our best, but we need help from the city. And
Any suggestions on what to do with for the vaccine rabies follow-up?
we have paperwork on it, and they get a 3-year vaccine.
But how?
If they have an ear tip,
This year.
if they have an ear tip and you have a question whether they are, say a cat bites someone, which is extremely rare. It's extremely rare. If you look at cases of rabies from cats, you might find 1 or 2. When I was doing the proposal for our initial, there was 1 case in the last 50 years in Florida. 1
But
case.
so I guess.
The feral cats are gonna avoid you.
So
They're going wrong.
They're gonna
So I
run. And
guess
if you don't have TNR, none of those cats running around are gonna have rabies. None. And, if the ordinance is changed where it makes it not good for us, and I'm not saying, our way or the highway, it costs us a minimum of $25 to spay and neuter and rabies vaccine the cat, plus our gas, our time, our equipment, our fundraising, everything. So if you take this and start picking up cats that are not adoptable, the ferals are not adoptable, the friendlies, you're gonna fill up the shelter. And then we're gonna be right back where we were 6 years ago, where you have 27 cats that have been in the 256. So I don't, but, if you change the ordinance where you're picking up the cats, or people are getting fines for feeding, or potentially our volunteers could get fined for abandoning an animal when we return them, to where we trap them.
No, never.
So we will not neuter a single cat in Louisiana if you don't add the food and shelter back in and take care of them.
So is every cat that is not already?
I can't tell you that because we started 5 years ago. Those
So-
cats would not be, but, we're moving through.
The vaccination is that we're trying to make sure that the community cats follow the same guidelines as road cats within certain limits, like with vaccination, right? So
Okay, a
as-
3-year
so
and
as much as possible to identify when
It
the cat was vaccinated.
it would be lovely to do that, but once a cat's been trapped, it's hard to trap them the second time.
And so that's
And
why.
who's gonna go and focus on, hey, we don't have time for that. We're 3 people trapping cats, trying to do this.
No, so,
Yeah,
so hold on. I
if
think
you're-
that the,
If
the idea
you're
was like-
feeding a community cat, I can walk up to 6, 8 of the ones that I'm feeding. But there are 3 that I've been feeding them for 3 years and I can't get within 10 feet of them. Sometimes if they see me look, they'll run away from the food bowl.
So that's why I'm saying,
So-
to the best of our ability, we'd like to have it vaccinated. So the idea
So,
was that.
well,
if a
where I
cat
was
is
going
being-
with that was, that's me and they're used to me. They're not gonna come running at you and bite you and scratch you. They're gonna run from you. Because they're still really a feral cat.
And so the
I mean,
question
they've learned to
is,
trust me somewhat.
Yeah, but the homeowner has a cat. They're required to vaccinate said cat per ordinance.
They're also
Okay.
required to register that cat
Yes.
with the city. How many of them do that?
well, they can get a fine if it's found out.
Yeah,
So-
if it's
so that's
found
the
out.
point. I mean,
So
we're not going door to door looking.
why are we
Exactly.
punishing a
So
homeowner
everybody
that
goes door
takes
to
care of
door
the
asking,
animal
Is that feral cat up to
and
date
not
with
the
vaccine?
community cat for
It's
not
human.
vaccinating? That's the point.
Focus of TNR though is to stop the reproduction of feral cats.
Ask
Yeah.
him, but I mean.
No,
It's no
I'm
different if
saying-
we're requiring homeowners that,
I'm
take
saying
care
it's
of cats.
impossible for us
why not
to keep
those
cat
cats as well?
vaccinated on schedule.
The TNR
So-
cats as
so
well.
Hold on, that's not what we're asking.
Because
We're not
focus
asking
is
them
just
to
to stop the
check all
reproduction,
these
to help control the
30,000
population.
cats.
It's not to make a cat out of
30,000
them.
residents by 10
It's
cats.
just to
That would be
to
impossible.
stop that.
But as far as we can be running a TNR program and trying to spay and vaccinate, then after they've already been picked up, the problem that had been raised to me is that it's hard to tell how long ago the cat was vaccinated, right? Because it's got the ear dot, you
We
can tell it was.
we do have records.
And so how do you identify the cats?
We have,
Can you get the like picture, so it's the pattern, or I just don't.
we have a spreadsheet that has the date that we were trapping, and we have like a key, A, B, C, D. We number the cats, say, we're trapping around the town. So that would be A, that we trap would be 1, 2, and it goes by date. We can look back on our date, and I can pull up the paperwork from the provider of the neuter surgery. So it's gonna. Yes, but it does not have a person's name, because people are weird about that, and I understand it from the way it was 6 years ago, the harassment and the way the cats were treated and the people that took care of them were treated. They don't want anything to do with City Hall coming by and checking up on them. So that's why I hesitate to say register the colony caretakers. I mean, it's just like requiring them to register their city. People just aren't gonna do it.
So being as city clerk, I am, and I know several ladies here. I grew up with Ann and, I know Jennifer, I know Robin. She teach my kids in school. I grew up in the, here. My daughter loves animals, absolutely loves animals. But she's also allergic to, all pet dander and
Right.
everything. So we have to be very cautious with our own animals at home and everything. So, regardless of what's happening tonight, I want all y'all to understand, when I get information, okay, and my biggest thing is, I don't like to tell people I don't know. And at this point, I don't know. When TNR comes around, I don't know who you are. I don't know who volunteers. I don't know who to contact. So if you all want more information out there, or if people call in and say, hey, I have a complaint and you want me to tell somebody, I need that information.
And
The only people I know is Robin, because she volunteers all the time,
right,
and Tiffany, because she volunteers all the time, and all my city employees. Everybody else in this room, I had no clue that you all was
I don't
involved
know.
with anything, with the CAT program. So giving me more information to help you guys, that'd be awesome.
and
That'd be
that was
absolutely
given,
awesome.
that
You
was
know,
given when we started 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But we have not been contacted for stuff, so I will make sure you know.
That'd be totally awesome.
you
But
have
like,
the-
as I was saying, is nobody's out to get everybody.
No, and
in this
I don't
world.
think that either.
The problem is there's people that love animals. There's people that hate animals. There's always two. You know, in my neighborhood, I have several that love animals, and I have several that just don't want nothing to do with them whatsoever. But you know what? I don't care if your animal crosses my yard to go to the next yard. I don't care if the squirrels and animals and everything play. I don't care. But some of the people that have is, I don't want that animal in my yard. What are we doing with this animal? Whether it's TNR, whether it's homeowner, whether it's the dog, whether it's raccoon, because you have problems with raccoons and don't know how to trap raccoons, skunks. Tell me what to do with these animals that people absolutely say, I do not want. That's the main issue. There's people that do not want these animals near them, regardless if they come up and run away or not. What do I do with the next step? Tell me how I can help you guys to get conservation in here, picking up raccoons and skunks.
Well, I
Tell
don't
me
know
how
about
to get,
conservation. All I do
you
is
know,
ask.
tell me how to get you guys down here to verify where this animal was or where it was crossing. I have 6 cats that sit on my neighbor's porch, and I know only 2 of them
If it would be
is theirs.
possible,
So,
when you do
you know,
get a complaint, if
but-
you would just shoot me an email and say we had a complaint at this address.
that'd be
then we'll-
awesome.
Then we'll check it out.
That'd be
And that
awesome.
has been
That'll give
our-
us a location
That
of
has been
this.
our intent the whole time,
Yep.
is that we would be the go-between the city and the county.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. It'll give you guys a location
But
of
another
what's
thing
going on.
you can tell them is that you're always gonna have cats, no matter
Yes.
what you do. You could go out tomorrow, shoot 500 cats. In
Yeah.
3 months, if we're in the middle of kitten season. In
Yeah.
3 months, you're gonna be back at the same number or more. So you're always gonna have cats.
Yeah,
So your best bet is the cats that you have are neutered.
yeah,
And the way that's gonna happen is through TNR.
yep.
I mean,
You
it's
all
not
just give me the
perfect.
information, we'll all work together. But like I said, when Kivney brought up TNR and there's a contract for TNR, where is said contract?
We never signed
Exactly.
a contract. That
See?
was something Bart said, we'll do this as a
It went
5-year
by
thing and then
ordinance.
look at it.
Okay,
To me, the ordinance did not need to be changed at all. I mean,
okay. And like I said, nobody's out to get everybody. We're all trying to figure
Yeah.
this out. There's,
right.
there's rude comments out there. There's hateful
Yes.
people out there.
On
You
both
know-
sides, the cat people can get really mean.
I'm tired of me. I'm tired of me. I'm
Me
tired
too.
of the meanness.
I would
So-
like everyone to be nice to each other, respectful, but you are always gonna have. And no matter how many traps we set, how many cats we neuter, there are always gonna be cats. Since we've begun, there is a lot less cats than on Cotton and Kentucky. And those numbers went down because there were less kittens in the large groups. I can't quantify how many you had before we came in because we can't find those records anywhere. I asked Rich Bland, I don't know how many times.
I think the Brothers are records go back to now, it's like 2018.
Yeah,
Somewhere
but
in
yeah,
this-
I have no idea how many. I know that when we started TNR, that I have a picture of how many days the pound was full. Jeff Windmiller was gonna go in and kill them all. I got called. I found rescue for every cat that was in the pound. And that was not something you can do every time.
We try not to euthanize animals out there.
Yeah.
We absolutely
And you have
It's
not
typically
with
health
cats,
reasons
yeah.
Or court orders, that's it.
Right.
Otherwise,
And we
euthanize
want to
them.
keep it that way. If you
Yeah.
start picking up ferals or community cats,
And that's-
you're gonna be full, and then that's gonna be on the table
And that's
because
something we've talked
there's not
about
enough.
previously.
Yeah.
The goal is to have every animal a home. That's the goal. So we talk about cats that are nuisance cats, we pick them up, we hold them for them 10 days. So if there is a community cat caregiver out there that's not on the John Cotton Buddy page, please get on there. Because if we pick up one of your cats and it is yours, we hold them for 10 days. If it's a friendly cat, we're gonna find it a home. That's the goal. If not, we're gonna try and send it to rescue so it can find a home. Or if it's just feral to the point where it's a danger to itself and others, we're calling.
And Tiffany, if you'll let me know when you bring a cat in, if you just give me the
Honestly,
intersection
I'm
of the
gonna be-
street.
I'm gonna be
I can
honest, I'm
post it
probably
in
gonna
our
do that to
group.
Robin because so much going on between cats, dogs, and everything else.
Okay,
And everything else
Robin,
going on.
when cats come into the pound, will you let me,
Yeah.
and I say pound, I know it's shelter.
Yeah.
Will you let me know where they came from, like the intersection, and what day they come in the pound? And I will share it on our caretaker page to make sure it's not one, because I know Cheryl's had some come missing.
John Cott Memorial Animal Shelter Buddy page. Tammy's on here. She knows it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great time for some fundraising. Yeah, I've got a jar in my store that nobody has come and checked for quite a while.
Just let me know, let her
Yeah.
let me know.
But my suggestion would be, get one of those jars in every business. We have new businesses downtown.
Yes, we do. And more coming.
We will make some of those up, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's my fault for forgetting about you. I know we have one at Patty Blackmore's and you, and I think that might be it.
But
Yeah.
get them all out there, because I
Yeah.
think people when they're leaving, especially change,
Change.
you don't wanna stick it there.
And I've been trying on our community cat Facebook page to try to have more interactive posts to get the community involved. Because I think a lot of people in Louisiana have no idea we're here. And we've had articles in the newspaper and it's basically been word of mouth. This caretaker, well, call them, which is fine, but
You guys are still running into the same problem that we're running into. The need is there,
yes,
but the volunteer is
the
not.
volunteer is not. And, it's tricky because community cats aren't really like a pet cat. So, a community cat can be a stray cat, it could be a lost cat, it could be one that somebody abandoned, or it could be totally feral. And the ferals, if that's all you were dealing with, you wouldn't have a problem because you would see them. But it's the people that let their cats out. It's the people that don't stay and neuter. I know you're concerned about the rabies thing. Our focus is stay neuter. We can't go back in 3 years and trap the cats that we did 3 years ago to get them updated, because that is trapping and vet services that could have gone to neutering another colony. So from my understanding from talking to the vet, 3-year rabies, your immunity is past the 3 years. A lot of shots you only need one time and you've got the immunity. They kind of feel that way with rabies, but as a standard, they're supposed to be yearly, but there is a 3-year vax that they do for feral cats.
But when's the last time a cat moved in and had?
I would say probably never.
That's what I'm saying. You talk about.
I mean,
dog.
it's extremely,
Now, a dog running loose.
right.
A dog running
It has to be
loose,
cemented.
99% more of a chance of a dog running loose of biting somebody than a cat.
That's why we got.
I can see the city's point of
Sometimes they
get all the cats
go.
vaccinated, but it might be a bigger problem. I mean, they're not really that big of a danger.
No, I mean, so
for
it's-
attack. I mean, 2 incidents don't warrant a whole bunch of changes and stuff, I mean, cats do not really attack people that much. I mean, really, ask these people, they'll tell you.
The only time I've ever gotten bit or scratched from a cat is when I was trying to cover it. That is the only time, and it dealt with ferals in cages, to another cage. They avoid you, even in the trap, they're gonna go as far away from you as they can. But if they're cornered, they are gonna attack you. But the rabies, if you Google it, it's very rare for somebody to get rabies from a cat bite. It just, you know.
Another way you guys can raise money is there's lots of groups here in town. In fact, I belong to one and we talked about it. And we're probably gonna donate money from our group.
Oh, nice. What's your group?
Urban Garden.
Oh, nice.
And there's Friends of the Library, there's all PTOs.
See, since I don't live here, I don't know all these little things, so, and
if we.
I would love to come give a talk at Rotary, but it's, you know, I've gotta take a vacation day because.
So
pesky
if we
job
took
and-
out the portion where it does say $50 fine,
Yes, take out the fine
and
and
if
put
we
the
added back
feeding
in
and
the
shelter.
shelter and the food. But again, we've gotta have,
I would say, you know, if they're injured, in danger, or posing a danger to public.
I've gotta
then
add a nuisance because
Yeah.
nuisance is becoming a really big thing around here with cats.
How can you prove that it was a cat? And I'm saying
Or
this,
that cat.
or that particular
So
cat.
typically if somebody's selling it. I'm sorry, I keep cornering you out, it's because I work so much with you. Typically, if somebody comes to us and tells us the cat's a nuisance, I ask for a picture of proof. I wanna
Right.
see it doing it.
I would
Same with
just
the dog.
want,
I always want.
I would just want a hard, fast rule in there. And they're considered nuisance. You have video, you
Yeah.
have a picture, you know which cat what it's coming from. Because raccoons will do the same thing that a cat.
Yeah,
will.
so
What is considered a nuisance? I mean, what's the
Exactly.
definition of
We
a
need
nuisance?
definitions.
That's
So
all I'm
there,
saying.
hold on, there is, in the ordinance, there
Yeah,
is
so-
a definition of a nuisance.
So right now, it's section B, community cats which are destroying property, including personal property, fixtures, planting beds, et cetera, may be picked up for evaluation and possible rehoming. If it's
So-
determined to be a persistent threat to life, health, and property, it may be used. Right, so we didn't use just the general language of nuisance. Does that seem clear? When we wrote it, I thought.
It's a little vague, like,
I mean, everything is a little vague, but that's what
Yes.
the judge is there for, right?
Right, and again, typically especially when it comes to cats, like you said, it's hard to know exactly which one did it. We typically always have to prove of something, even if we see a dog at large, I always have somebody snap me a picture unless I can physically see the dog out running.
because we have one lady in town, I'm not gonna say names, that complains that the cats are peeing in her bushes by her business. Google boxwoods.
Yeah, I actually read a
Yes.
post today about your.
There are several plants that,
Smell
and
like
I have personal experience with boxwoods. My friends John and Terry had them lining the sidewalk to their house. It would knock you over. It smells exactly like awful, like feral cats at a pee party. So with that person, I would suggest maybe putting in some nice burning bushes or something that doesn't smell like cat.
Right, so I would like to leave in the nuisance portion in there, just.
I would like a clear, what a nuisance is, like what property damage if they jump on the hood of the car and you find a little scratch, is that considered
Yeah.
enough to pick them up?
Yeah,
I
they
mean-
charge the kids for that.
Yeah. Do they?
Yeah, they get on to kids for scratching
Right.
cars and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
No better though.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That's what they see. That's what people see. They're damaging my car. So.
Right. So I mean.
Can I ask a question? I don't know who can hear me. Hello?
State your name.
I have a question for the LCC lady. I forgot your name.
Yeah.
Is there how many times do you guys do the spay and neuter clinics in this town?
We used to do it a lot more often, but that was before COVID. When we had, the Mizzou vet student program would actually come to us, but now we're outside the ring. So when we first got started, we were doing 47, 45 cats every couple of months. But that went away with COVID because the students couldn't be in session. And then getting appointments was hard. So last year we did approximately 10 cats, January through November. Per month. And that was a low number for us. but all things considered, I think it was pretty darn good.
So how is there a way to get the word out so that more people will take their cats to get them fixed? Maybe that will help. I don't know how, I know you guys have a Facebook page, but is there another way? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe Press Journal will run like a little article about us and you just contact them. I do not.
What about animal control? Do you have animal control?
I am.
She's basically.
Do you guys need a fundraiser to help raise money for the neutering thing? Is that part of the problem as well?
Yes, fundraising would be awesome because until now, we've had one grant. And we've done little online auctions, a bake
What happened
sale.
to your grant? What happened to the grant?
We used it.
How about a second grant? What's the foundation that gave you that money?
Oh, you are, awesome.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay,
The problem was the contacts evaporated. We had no response, no feedback, no communication. So when a foundation wants proof of
Right.
something, they don't want to have to.
I sent an email with that. We'll talk later. Yeah,
It's not been a good communication.
sorry. We'll chat.
There are like grants listed on the internet, but you have to have somebody who knows how to bring it.
So if you guys would like to leave your contact information, please give us your name, your phone number, email address, however you want to be contacted. If you guys feel comfortable enough to give that information, guys, please let us know. We all will work together to try and fix this and organize this the best we can.
I would like to repeat what I believe I opened with that. I don't think there's any realistic alternative to a TNR program. We're just trying to figure out how to make it work best.
We have to find a middle ground that, so we help the community cat organization, people, but at the same time, trying to figure out a way to balance everything else you have in place. It's a mutual ground. Never satisfy everybody or anybody, but we have to try and balance it the best we can.
So is the bond on or off?
We're gonna shake it off. Thank you.
Yes,
So you're saying, we won't see you in court next week.
And it couldn't be in shelter back then?
Yeah.
It couldn't be in shelter back then?
Yes. But again, the biggest thing is people are going to be paying for together. We've got to take care of the medical care too. You guys are.
Could you,
We're doing
when you put the feed and care back in next to the medical, maybe put city is not liable for medical costs. And, you know, something to the effect that your cat is injured or sick, you need to find a way to get it taken care of.
I see your wheels turning so hard.
And if you need help with the verbiage,
Yeah, so what I was gonna propose is that we'll talk with Kathy and Chief Jones. And make sure that we're just not going to enforce this for this next one. So we'll see, we can, that'll give us a little more time to work on the language.
okay. I have a contact that is a TNR basics lawyer that her job is writing TNR ordinances. I could hook you up with
Yes,
her and
please.
she can help
Please,
you
that would
with,
be wonderful.
her name is Elizabeth Holtz, yeah.
Elizabeth, all right, excellent. Yeah, if you would leave your contact, and we'll get in touch so you can give me your
Yeah.
contact
Does the
too.
city, does the city pay for the medical care? That's what we're taking into account?
No, that's why
I didn't think so.
I wasn't sure that really what that would be us putting an obligation on the community caregivers to provide medical care.
Because it's
And I wasn't sure if that was actually what you wanted.
The way community cats come in now is typically, depending on what the situation is, either we care for the cats, the city does pay for the vet care, or we get a hold of another organization that does help out with the vet care. So
The city
And we can't really afford to pay for every vet,
we've been trying to.
but what we do is we can help them raise the money for it. You know, on smaller bills, yes, we can help.
No, the city is still owned and ran by the city.
They have to run it 24/7 or they lose the grant.
No, I don't think, not totally.
We don't have to run it 24/7, we have to, the city
If
has
you
to.
mean
own
It
it.
has to be open 7 days a week.
It's not.
Oh, I thought the-
There's a trust fund that, part of the reason that we wanted to keep it going on a volunteer basis, but we didn't want to lose the John Cotton Trust Fund.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
And so.
It just states that
that's
it
why
has
it's
to be owned by the
voluntary.
city. Not, it doesn't say anything about the stipulations of hours or running or anything like that. It just states that the city has to continue to own.
Own it and maintain.
It's been a while since I looked at the language of it. Never had a copy of it and looked at it in the office.
I mean, the children's care 24/7 anyway, not 24/7, it's me and 7 days a week anyway. Again, robbing myself. Hey, I'm sorry, you guys, we have a complaint that, people are struggling to hear just with background noise.
If complaints are made that a cat is a nuisance, the city will pick them up. Are we correct on that?
Currently,
Yeah.
Under
So,
this, I guess.
so you're saying if people call and say, you know, the cat's
Honestly-
destroying my property, then the city has the right to kick this cat out.
yes,
Okay, so then what happens when you have 52 people calling and saying there's a cat nuisance? Now you have 52 cats in the town, what becomes of those 52 cats?
we, according to this ordinance, we're gonna hold those cats for 10 days. We're gonna try and find their owner. If we cannot find an owner in 10 days, cat's friendly, we will either adopt it out or we will send it to a rescue to be adopted out. If the cat is feral to the point of harm to itself or others, then we would euthanize it.
Who euthanizes?
Dr. Black,
Who decides?
you decide that the cat's feral to the point, technically our chief of police does. He makes that determination. So, not just myself, our whole group, we all discuss it together. Every volunteer that's out there, we all talk about each other's things. We all communicate and make sure that.
So then you're getting into the cost of euthanasia and.
That's why we avoid euthanasia if all possible. The adoption's always the goal.
How much is the euthanasia? Is that not like neuter, same price?
No, I think it's, neutering is more expensive.
Okay.
It depends on the weight of the animal, on what the cost of the euthanasia.
So on the Facebook page, is there like a?
All right, any other questions? Otherwise, we're gonna.
So are you just trying to,
It's like
just
just
the
Yes.
color code of your tax? Are you guys?
I was hoping to continue discussing that.
It's, I mean, it says something about color code of your.
Yeah,
tax.
so I said at the beginning, we don't.
Right, you're.
You don't use it, you're fine. Yeah,
Well,
and,
this-
yeah, the
this
color
ordinance
coded
was
your
meant to
tags
create-
are, yeah.
So that was trying to find a way to identify the cats. that have
Right,
already
it's,
been
it's not a color code, it's a.
No.
And we were trying to
This
do an
was
additional-
creating one.
Yeah.
It wasn't saying there is one, it was creating one.
one.
Because we thought that would be easier
Yeah.
than shipping.
Yeah,
We were
I don't,
hoping to have somebody
I don't know how
identify the
that
cats
would
that were
work.
vaccinated.
I'd be afraid to get their ears ripped and.
or it would make them open.
So was there any way to identify? You said before that it was by an Excel sheet with location and description, right?
And date, so we know what date that is.
So that was the problem, we thought that kind of thing wouldn't be sufficient.
It's the best we can do, we don't have the time or resources to do color ear tags or.
But that's in this ordinance, so.
Yes, that, we had nothing to do with that. Yeah, so that should just change to this ear tip, and if there's
Can you give this to
a
Tiffany for me?
concern about.
Okay, and I'm gonna make one more out, and would you give it to Robin?
Yeah.
Okay.
How are we gonna make a line?
I mean, are we gonna say, okay,
I guess one of my biggest worries is that if we're gonna be
I
having these
say
cats
I
semi-owned, we would like as much as possible to ensure that they're. up to
Tony's
date on
back
the
is hurting.
Right, so. You what?
Are you done, Tiffany?
I just think that so, I just, maybe it's because some of the Bible things, that's, but I think it's almost so low that it's not needed.
For me, it gets back to the fact that if the community cat caregivers are halfway to ownership, then there should be some of the same requirements for maintaining the vaccine. Because I mean, the whole point of the vaccines is to be prevented. So you have to have a certain level. I don't know what that is. With a lot of the diseases that we're all vaccinated against, it has to be like 95%.
I just think that's gonna be impossible for them to
The
do.
main focus of DNR is to stop the reproduction of
I mean,
non-owned cats.
if we have a cat that's sick that goes to the vet, they do get updated on their shot. But as far as being able to come back, every 3 years and trap the same cats, there's just no way.
How do you control the trapping of the cats in the first place? I mean, some of the same cats, I mean, how often do you get a cat that's already adopted?
It's not that often. It's been a couple of times, personally myself, it's only happened twice.
Yeah, once they're trapped,
So they
won't
don't
go
are
home.
getting free trap.
Not often. And, once they're in the trap, we can also see better the ear tip, and if they have an ear tip, we release it. Because we get, April 15th, we have 10 spots in Columbia for spay and neuters. If we have an ear tip cat in the trap, we're letting it go so we can get one that hasn't. I mean, that is our focus is neuter. So we want to stop the population expansion with that cat. And they say you stay one cat, you save 100. So, and they reproduce quickly. They can have 4 litters a year.
The
4
females.
kittens.
They can
Yes.
start as soon as 4 months old.
And 4
Yes.
months old kittens having kittens.
And they can have them every 3 to 4 months, they can have a little.
Yeah. And it's not true that they don't have them in the middle of the winter, I'm telling you.
Oh, I know that for a fact. They're
We
underneath
have
my.
African chats in December and January.
The last person I know of in Pike County to get rabies was my brother, and that was back in 81, and his dog did.
And quite frankly, the cats that are loose now in the community have a very short life.
But I guess the community cats are a little bit unique because the cats that are inside, they're registered, right? Or it's the owner's problem if they get rabies from the cat they didn't vaccinate. And then the feral cats just don't come near humans almost ever.
Right? No, they
But
don't.
the community cats are in sort of that middle ground, right? Where they're outside, maybe mingling with the feral cats, but are not just, possibly exposing their owners to some disease. So that was my concern on that C.
But if you give a cat a 3-year shot, the average shot for a cat is 2 years. So probably a lot of-
That's not necessarily true. If they have a good caretaker and good shelter and hiding places, they can live just as long as an indoor cat.
14,
And how many
15
cats do you
years.
have over there under that house up on the corner for how long? Yeah,
I've been caretaking for 6 years, and I do have a 6-year-old in the ear tip.
yeah, I was gonna say, you have got cats up
Yeah.
when you're on the corner.
My mom's been taking, she was the first TNR that did. And that was 7 years ago. And she still has 5 of the 7 that we
Do you
originally
need
did.
any help like trapping cats? People?
Yeah.
Is there any street to, the cat that attacked somebody? I mean, is there any, do you know any more about the?
I do, but it's.
Now, if I get a skunk,
Reason.
oh my
What's your
God.
name? Stephen?
Can't talk about it.
Are you on our Facebook?
So thick happens a lot, Russ.
All right, well, then I think that's all we've got for tonight. Thank you all for coming out.
If you have any questions, I am happy to
Yeah,
answer.
if
And
you would
it's
leave me
easier
your
if you
email.
just like email me and then I can either call you
Yeah,
when I'm off
if we've got
work
enough people
or.
that want to write their information here, otherwise I'll just get a couple of contact points.
And I brought some handouts if anyone needs
Yeah, I'd be
needs
happy to
some more information.
If anybody's willing to help them track.
Yes.
Let her know.
And not just
That would be the best
trapping, we
result
have
of this
so
meeting.
many
We could get more
other,
people.
yeah, it's just basically.
She's got the sack.
And I don't have as many of these, but this is a little more in depth on what it's in our program. And I just. No, it doesn't. If you. I'll give it to you. She's gonna work. And then this is. Like cats, what happens when there's cats, you know, into them. Yeah, or let me scan it before you all take off, but I get it back to-
I mean, like, there's.
I have that. Oh, okay, you got two other flyers.
Here's my name.
That way I can upload it. Where do you live?
I live at 602, where the churches are in Louisiana. We got church here, church here, church here.
First Baptist. First Baptist.
Yeah, 2 blocks down from City Hall. Go right here, straight down.
Okay, so you're close where
That,
Cheryl.
that house has got all the stuff in the yard. Oh, well, anyway, I live
You're
right
right
there.
over there. Awesome. I wonder if we're gonna need this now.
Well, I mean, you're still gonna need to trap cats. Well, keep collecting them, it ain't gonna hurt.
Thank you all pretty much.
Anybody have any other questions?
All right, I'm ending meeting, stopping recording.
Remember.